Coming up on AgweekTV, a new gluten-free pasta plant in North Dakota is going full steam.
We'll check in on the corn and soybean crop in southeastern South Dakota.
A group from Kurdistan learns sustainability practices on a Minnesota farm.
At the North Dakota State Fair, we'll show how the livestock show community has shown up for some members in need.
Welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Emily Beal. A new gluten-free pasta extrusion plant is now running at full speed in Minot, North Dakota, and that's good news for farmers. AGT Food and Ingredients is a world leader in plant-based proteins and value-added processing of pulse crops. AGT President and CEO Murad Al-Khatib says with the new extrusion plant, AGT Foods now has $100 million invested in North Dakota. The plant processes crops like lentils and chickpeas, and he says it just makes sense to put the plant in the heart of pulse production.
It was all about logistical advantages, some of the best farmers in the world. You know, we got BNSF rail yard very close by, container intermodal, and then truck access via the interstate system all throughout the United States. So for us, value-added processing meant that we could do it here.
AGT has 45 production plants around the world, and Al-Khatib says they're already looking at expanding this one in 2025. Cattle producers are facing a big change this fall in how they track their animals. The annual South Dakota Cattlemen's Region Roundup focused on the electronic ID ruling to improve traceability in the industry.
Later this year, all cattle that are going to be shipped across state lines will be tracked with an electronic tag. South Dakota State Veterinarian Beth Thompson, who is also Executive Secretary of the South Dakota Animal Industry Board, says it will be a much better system than the current metal ear tags.
If we could do things quicker, more efficiently, and safer, it's a win for everybody. So the electronic identification allows us to track individual animals at the speed of light, basically. So faster, easier, safer.
Warren Simmons is the president of the South Dakota Cattlemen's Association. He favors the new tag mandate. He says it will help to quickly and accurately trace and identify cattle. He says that would be especially helpful in case of a disease outbreak.
But it's a food safety issue, or rather a food security issue and a herd safety issue across the country. We do it on our own herd at home. We have for many, many years. It's not a problem. You put the tag in their ear, you write the number down, and you know who they are and where they're going, and the vet keeps track of it all and turns it in.
The new rule will basically apply to breeding and dairy cattle that are not already tagged and some bison. The USDA is providing money for the tags in each state. The federal rule goes into effect on November 5th.
The South Dakota Cattlemen's Association plans to host more Region Roundup events across the state, and more information can be found on their website. Scientists are working to build a better field pea. At Dakota Lakes Research Farm near Pierce, South Dakota, SDSU has a trial of field peas consisting of around 35 different varieties of both green and yellow peas. Through their field and pea trials, researchers are not only looking at yield and protein content, but also nitrogen fixation.
My lab does a lot of work on nitrogen fixation, so we're looking at how much nitrogen these plants can fix from the atmosphere. And that's a combination of the bacteria that are doing the work and then the plants who are forming this symbiotic relationship with rhizobia.
There are very few pea acres planted in South Dakota due to marketing issues in the area. Graham hopes to see field pea acres increase across the state.
Coming up on Ag Week, we'll check in on the corn and soybean crop in southeastern South Dakota.
There's no easy button, no guarantees, or promises of a good year. This is farming. It's unpredictable and demanding, with long days and sometimes stressful nights. It's weathering the storms and coming out successful. Farming isn't for everyone. We thank those who make it their life, because it is for everyone.
It was October 1st, 2009. We needed some machinery for the farm. We decided to see if we could become a dealer, and that's kind of grown into what it's been today.
We offer basically anything short line. Seed tenders, fertilizer spreaders, sprayers. We can really set ourselves apart by the knowledge we have in those things, by the amount of units we have on hand at all times.
I just have a passion for helping people, getting to know people. It just becomes a lot of fun.
Bring the family and have some fun at Minnesota Farm Fest, August 6th through the 8th. Visit with hundreds of ag exhibitors and learn about the latest ag technology. Plus, enjoy the music, food, and family fun. Hear from policymakers as they discuss the issues at the Farm Fest forums, or catch the ride and drive events with Ziegler and Can-Am. Discover how much fun agriculture can be at Farm Fest, August 6th through the 8th in Redwood County. For tickets, visit farmfest.com. Farm, family, fun at Farm Fest.
Hamilton System Inc. in Drayton, North Dakota is the North American distributor of the Fantini corn and sunflower header. Both the L03 corn head and the G03 sunflower head have a simple, high-efficiency, low-maintenance PTO-driven gearbox, which eliminates slippage and power loss even in the most trying conditions. These heads are built with a solid one-piece frame and tubular steel construction that will withstand the harshest field conditions. Available in models from 4 to 18 rows, they adapt to any combine and come with a 4-year warranty on the transmission units.
Join Erickson Custom Operations in Severn Anderson for our 2024 annual crop tour at Anderson Farms near Drayton, ND, Wednesday, July 31st at 11 a.m. Learn about blending soil and plant nutrients with AquaYield and calcium products, and see firsthand what returning your soils back to health can do for your crops. Can't make it? Check out one of our other 2024 crop tours, July 29th in Perham, Minnesota, July 30th in Washburn, North Dakota, and August 1st in Davenport, North Dakota. Erickson Custom Operations 2024 crop tours. Join us in the field.
The AgweekTV Cereals Crop Tour is sponsored by National Wheat Foundation, Anthem Oats, Meridian Seeds, Erickson Custom Operations, AKE Safety Equipment, Advanced Grain Handling Systems, and LCS.
Our cereal crops tour continues this week. Ariana Schumacher takes a look at the cereal grains in South Central South Dakota.
Thanks, Emily. Today I'm joined here with Brian Jorgensen, the Chief Agronomy Operations Officer at Jorgensen Land and Cattle in Ideal, South Dakota. So Brian, just tell me a little bit about some of the conditions we're seeing in our cereal grain crops this year.
Well, this year I would say that the cereal grain crops have not really experienced a bad day. The conditions have been almost perfect since we planted the spring grains, and the winter seeded grains too had wonderful conditions last fall. The spring grains have wonderful conditions this spring, so we're looking at a record crop.
And were you seeing any diseases or anything like that affecting the crop this year?
Yeah, there was a little bit of striped rust occurring in the winter wheat, very, very little in the spring grains. I'm not a fungicide user, or at least I try not to be, and so far I think we're going to be just fine.
What about pest? What kind of pest have you been seeing this year?
A very, very minimal amount of pests. Even in our alfalfa, we didn't spray any insecticide this year. We had very minimal impact from insects, so I'd say it's been a really good spring.
And how have these conditions kind of compared to the past few years?
I would say this is one of the best since probably 2017. In terms of yield potential and weather, it's been almost perfect.
I know you started cutting a little bit. What kind of yields are you seeing, and what do you expect to see?
I'm expecting well above average on our winter wheat. I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of 80 and 90 bushel yields. As far as the spring grains, I would expect the spring wheat, just the way it looks, to probably be in the mid to high 60s. And oats, boy, it's hard to guess, but I want to say well above 130, 140. It's going to be really good.
Well, thank you so much, Brian.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
In Ideal, South Dakota, I'm Ariana Schumacher for AgWeek.
Thanks, Ariana. Our tour now takes us to Northwest Minnesota, where Michael Johnson takes a look at the wheat crop.
Overall, the crops look very, very good.
Joachim Wiersma is the University of Minnesota Small Grain Specialist at the Northwest Research and Outreach Center in Crookston. He's showing off some spring wheat trial fields near Oakley. He says they were planted in 3 periods in April and May, interrupted by rains.
To me, when I look at the crops, the first and the second look phenomenal. You can see a lot more of the water damage in that third planting date.
That water damage comes from about 15 inches of rain this season. This field has lighter soil, so the damage isn't as bad as other parts of the state, but the moist conditions are leading to some disease. Growers must be on the lookout for Fusarium head blight, among others.
This year we have a disease that we don't see very often, which is stripe rust. And we have some unpleasant surprises. A disease that's even rarer we actually have here in Oakley. I don't have it in the other locations necessarily, but especially here in Oakley I can find stem rust. And we have varieties in this trial that are susceptible to it.
Wiersma says most wheat in northwest Minnesota looks phenomenal, but how the fields finish will depend on the timing of planting, fungicide application, and harvest. Near Oakley, Minnesota, this is Michael Johnson for AgWeek.
Our Seral Crops tour will continue next week. After a challenging start this season, the corn and soybean crop in southeastern South Dakota varies in condition. Kennedy Tesh checks in at a farm in eastern South Dakota.
Despite heavy moisture this spring and early summer, southeastern South Dakota farmer Justin Minert said crop conditions look fair, and it would be beneficial to see moderate rains between now and harvest.
Do the first yield check of the year.
Minert and his dad grow corn and soybeans near Madison. He says after they started planting corn in April, rain stopped them for a couple of weeks. So his corn crop looks about as good as it can.
Mother Nature has been our biggest pest with the rain. Our corn crop, we've got good looking, bad, and ugly. We've got areas that are sitting underwater for several weeks where the corn's completely gone, to low-lying areas that aren't well drained that are still yellow and fighting to come out of that. And then we've got some spots that look exceptional that are well drained, or hilltops that have done well.
Minert says his corn has just started to tassel. So far, the good news is they aren't dealing with much insect, weed, or disease pressure, and now they could use some rain.
If we catch a little bit of rain here, as long as it comes in moderation, we'll be looking at a pretty good crop overall.
Minert says soybean planting was also slowed some by rain, and now some beans are yellow from too much water. But he says overall, the crop looks good, as long as they continue to get timely rains.
We've got full canopy on our beans right now in 15-inch rows, so the weed pressure is pretty well suppressed, and no insects so far.
Near Madison, South Dakota, this is Kennedy Tesh for AgWeek.
The USDA's National Ag Statistics Service reports for the week ending on July 21st, 68% of both corn and soybeans in the U.S. were rated good to excellent.
Ahead on AgweekTV, a group from Kurdistan comes to Minnesota to learn how to return their war-torn land to sustainability.
When it comes to grain storage and handling solutions, one call does it all. Gateway Building Systems is one of the largest Brock bin dealers in the U.S. Our expert team is dedicated to creating a customized plan for your future success. Expanding your operation has never been easier with our range of Brock solid bins, grain dryers, conveyors, and more. As your trusted partner, we are committed to serving the needs of farmers. Take the first step toward success and call Gateway Building Systems today.
Integrity, excellence, teamwork. At Titan Machinery, we take care of our team. Whether you are an experienced technician or looking to start your career, Titan has a spot for you. Earn a competitive pay with the potential to make in excess of 6 figures. Service techs, come grow with a company that invests in you. Titan Machinery offers company HSA and 401k contributions, free single healthcare, and a generous tool allowance. Plus, we'll provide all of your uniform and safety gear. Apply today at titanmachinery.com/careers.
Add more bushels to your hopper and money to your pocket by harnessing the power of air with Crary Wind Systems. Whether your beans are chest high or barely off the ground, Crary offers 2 solutions that add a constant stream of high-velocity air to quickly feed crop back to the auger, eliminating bunching, reducing shatter loss, and increasing your ground speed. Don't let crop conditions dictate your yield. Check out the Crary Air Reel or Crary Wind System today.
The simplicity, I mean, it's a complicated planter, but it's also simple. That row meter is just very simple and it just seems to work. I like that just having that tube delivering the seed with an airstream and not having to have extra belts on it or extra electric motors and stuff. A lot of this machinery seems like it's almost getting overly complicated. The simpler that it can work, but do what it's supposed to do, I think this machine can definitely do that.
Come out to Dakota Fest, August 20th through the 22nd in Mitchell, South Dakota. Connect with over 400 exhibitors specialized in row crop and livestock farming. Connect with other ag producers as you attend education sessions and live equipment and cattle shoot demonstrations. Connect with friends, family, and neighbors over food, music, and family fun events like the Kids Pedal Pull. Dakota Fest, growing connections in ag, August 20th through the 22nd. For information and discounted tickets, visit dakotafest.com.
AgWeek weather is sponsored by Bremer Bank. Connect with a banker today at bremer.com.
As July comes to a close, what will the weather entail? Here's John with our AgriWeather Outlook.
The hot weather that's been dominating headlines over the western states is beginning to expand, and it's shifting, and it's going to bring some of that heat out into the Great Plains. Another round of temperatures getting up into the 90s and even some century-digit marks will be likely over the next couple of weeks, and a lot of persistent, much warmer than average weather. Also, throughout the Great Plains, with the hotter temperatures, there will come less rainfall. So where's that rainfall going? The stormy weather pattern will shift into the eastern part of the United States and the eastern part of the corn bean belt of the United States as well. Jet stream, it's a typical midsummer pattern, very meandering. I've actually depicted 3 separate sort of streams. They're all sort of fairly weak, and that's allowing this hot weather to build up. Where there is ridging, that's where the hottest temperature is, and within this shade of red, I expect high temperatures to be mostly at least around or in the 90s, and some of this is at times even into the hundreds. You're going to see a lot of that in the southwest and in the western states, and you may see a day or two of that again showing up in through the high plains. As we move through the week, we'll continue to see the weather just a little cooler, a little more tolerable around the Great Lakes, though still plenty warm. A lot of this will end up being 80s and maybe even an occasional 70-degree day. As we go through the week, that will gradually shift. The ridge will get a little stronger, and there are some signs we could start seeing by the weekend, that heat beginning to shift out of the high plains and a little bit into the western edge of the Midwest. I look for in the second week of the forecast period for this area around the Great Lakes to remain consistently a little bit cooler than what we were seeing a little bit further to the west. But that first full week in August, I do believe we'll see that hot weather expanding and increasing a little bit, moving into western Minnesota with consistent 90-degree temperatures, western Iowa, and even parts of the Corn Belt proper will start getting that extreme heat. It will only remain cool up around the Hudson Bay region, and the Pacific Northwest Canadian version will remain quite a bit cooler. As far as precipitation goes, where that cool air encounters the heat and humidity, there will be scattered showers and thunder showers, and those will be trending to progress a little further to the east. Some of these, of course, will be strong storms, but we're not trying to predict where that is. From the western high plains out to the west coast, mostly pretty dry, except for some rain along the Canadian coastline, which may send a few fingers down into the Pacific Northwest. The second week of the period, I look for the dry area to be expanding in through much of the northern plains as the main rain area shifts further east.
Storage Pros and MnDAC Containers are your premier suppliers of shipping containers, servicing all of North Dakota and Minnesota. From 10 to 53 feet, new and used units, we have your storage solution. Pick up your unit or have it delivered. Call Mike or Jake today.
AgWeek's Summer Corn and Soybean Crop Tour kicks off in July 2024 and runs through September. Join us as we bring you an inside look at the crop conditions across the region with AgweekTV, AgWeek Magazine, online at agweek.com, and on social media. Contact your AgWeek rep or email ads@agweek.com for value-packed sponsorship opportunities today. And align your brand next to premier content on the AgWeek Corn and Soybean Crop Tour this summer.
Anytime you have a viral challenge, you are going to see a drop in dry matter intake. Anytime the immune system kicks in, it takes a colossal amount of energy. If they're not eating, they're going to deal with the problem. Our objective with IntegraVix is to maintain appetite, if not increase it. And therefore, we have to have something that really draws the animals to come to the bunk. Integrivix will do that.
Integrivix you can find at your local supplier, distributor, or you can call us directly at Van Beek Natural Science.
You're invited to the 4th Annual Open Forum Meeting for Aqua Yield and Calcine, Thursday, August 1st from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Holiday Inn in Fargo, North Dakota. Speakers include Warren Bell and Landon Bunderson from Aqua Yield, Steve Stumbris from Purple Cow, and Tom Vanderheiden, egg consultant with Erickson Custom Operations. Refreshments will be served. We look forward to seeing you there.
Bring the family and have some fun at Minnesota Farm Fest, August 6th through the 8th. Visit with hundreds of ag exhibitors and learn about the latest ag technology. Plus, enjoy the music, food, and family fun. Hear from policymakers as they discuss the issues at the Farm Fest forums. Or catch the ride and drive events with Ziegler and Can-Am. Discover how much fun agriculture can be at Farm Fest, August 6th through the 8th in Redwood County. For tickets, visit farmfest.com. Farm, family, fun at Farm Fest.
Storage Pros and MinDAC Containers are your premier suppliers of shipping containers, servicing all of North Dakota and Minnesota. From 10 to 53 feet, new and used units, we have your storage solution. Pick up your unit or have it delivered. Call Mike or Jake today.
A group of professors from Kurdistan came to northwest Minnesota this week to learn from local farmers how to return their farmland to productivity. As Rose Dunn reports, their land has been decimated by decades of war.
This peaceful farm is a long way from this group's homeland in every way. Kurdistan is a region carved out of 4 surrounding countries in the Middle East, but it's been under fire from its neighbors for decades, leaving the already mountainous and rocky soil badly damaged by bombs and chemical weapons.
The environment was completely destroyed. There was a lot of livestock that was killed.
Jihan Briefke is a Kurdish activist who escaped the fighting by coming to Moorhead as a child. She wanted to help her homeland, so she connected with the Kurdistan and U.S. governments to bring this group of university professors to the Cragness farm north of Moorhead.
Okay, all right. There we go. Now they have new salad.
They're learning inexpensive practices that can return their farmland to productivity. Atta Saleh is an environmental science professor who will go home and teach others these practices.
We help them develop the country, but in a sustainable way. That would be a long-term progress and long-term benefit for the region that I'm from.
One of the lessons is composting to build soil health without chemicals.
This is the manure, high nitrogen.
Steve Olson is a food and agriculture consultant who wanted to help as soon as he learned about the project.
What kind of practices can we help them put that fit best with their agriculture, with their farming, with their geography? And so, today we were talking about composting and how do you take that organic material and help build soil health and soil quality within their agricultural system.
Sustainability is the main goal, really.
Near Felton, Minnesota, this is Rose Dunn for AgWeek.
The group also visited several other small farms and community gardens this week. The trip was funded by the U.S. State Department. Nearly 600 young people and their animals squared off this month for the Minnesota Youth Livestock Expo. The Miley Swine Show was held in Austin, home of Hormel's National Barrow Show. It's a fairly new show in just its 5th year, but it featured 2,600 animals. Many of the participants are 4-H and FFA members from all around Minnesota, showcasing their beef, sheep, goats, and rabbits. It's one of the state's most competitive shows.
There's a lot of high-quality animals that'll get exhibited here that have been at, national shows, national gilt shows. There's a junior national going on right now even for the selective breeds, and many of them will be quite competitive there as well. So the quality runs deep here.
Participants range from age 5 to 21. The event is run completely by volunteers. Still ahead on AgweekTV.
We'll take you to the North Dakota State Fair in Minot, where we'll show you how the livestock community is supporting some of their own.
When it comes to grain storage and handling solutions, one call does it all. Gateway Building Systems is one of the largest Brock bin dealers in the U.S. Our expert team is dedicated to creating a customized plan for your future success. Expanding your operation has never been easier with our range of Brock solid bins, grain dryers, conveyors, and more. As your trusted partner, we are committed to serving the needs of farmers. Take the first step toward success and call Gateway Building Systems today.
Add more bushels to your hopper and money to your pocket by harnessing the power of air with Prairie Wind Systems. Whether your beans are chest high or barely off the ground, Prairie offers two solutions that add a constant stream of high-velocity air to quickly feed crop back to the auger, eliminating bunching, reducing shatter loss, and increasing your ground speed. Don't let crop conditions dictate your yield. Check out the Prairie Air Reel or Prairie Wind System today.
Hamilton System Inc. in Drayton, North Dakota is the North American distributor of the Fantini corn and sunflower header. Both the L03 corn head and the G03 sunflower head have a simple, high-efficiency, low-maintenance PTO-driven gearbox, which eliminates slippage and power loss even in the most trying conditions. These heads are built with a solid one-piece frame and tubular steel construction that will withstand the harshest field conditions. Available in models from 4 to 18 rows, they adapt to any combine and come with a 4-year warranty on the transmission units.
The simplicity, I mean, it's a complicated planter, but it's also simple. That row meter is just very simple and it just seems to work. I like that just having that tube delivering the seed with an airstream and not having to have extra belts on it or extra electric motors and stuff. A lot of this machinery seems like it's almost getting overly complicated. The simpler that it can work, but do what it's supposed to do, I think this machine can definitely do that.
There's no easy button, no guarantees, or promises of a good year. This is farming. It's unpredictable and demanding, with long days and sometimes stressful nights. It's weathering the storms and coming out successful. Farming isn't for everyone. We thank those who make it their life, because it is for everyone.
The livestock show community came together at the North Dakota State Fair to compete, but also to help some families in need. 3 friends who volunteer in the State Fair show barns are always ready to help in any way needed, but this year they took on an extra duty. Liz Anderson, Kelsey Hoffman, and JC Cargo co-chaired a silent auction to help 3 farm families dealing with serious issues.
Show World is a big family. We support each other, and we have 3 families in our community that are struggling. They're all at different levels in their trauma right now, and so we thought we'd come together at the State Fair and put on a fundraiser to show our support.
The One Big Family fundraiser benefited the Hennessy, Bredahl, and Siner families. The silent auction was held both in person and online. Stories you'll only see on AgweekTV.com and an AgWeek magazine this week. Meadowbrook Farm near Sartell, Minnesota includes an 80-head dairy, 300 feeder steers, 1,000 acres of row crops, and a finalist for Farm Woman of the Year. And representatives with Farmers National Company say the land market has remained relatively resilient, but shows signs of settling. We appreciate you watching AgWeek TV. Remember to check us out daily on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok to keep up on all your ag news. Have a wonderful week, everyone.